Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Another episode of Death Taught Us How to Live. Matter of fact, let's start the intro.
Mama told me don't wait on miracles. Don't give a reason to comfort your soul. Don't bow for nobody. Nobody can get you head up. You know you got it if you want it all. Mama told me don't wait on miracles. Don't.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I have a great episode. I have Dr. Bevan Choate. He is a stroke survivor, new stroke survivor. I guess he's a newborn at this, actually. But nonetheless, he's a stroke survivor, and he wanted to tell us a little bit about his story and what he is doing after his stroke, and now he's trying to get back into his new normal or his life that he was before. So, Dr. Choate, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well, Greg. Thank you for having me on the show. I just wanted to say, I've been looking at a lot of your content and stuff like that. You put in a lot of work to it, and it really shows. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Cho. That means a lot when people in the community that comes back and say that, the information that I put out is worthwhile watching. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for telling me that. But Dr. Cho, enough about the accolades and all that and all the praises. Let's talk about you. What happened with you? Give me a short synopsis of what actually happened to you that unfaithful day when you had your stroke. Give me 5 minutes.
Back in so it was December 3rd of 2020. I was going to work like any other day. Got out of the bed, hit the floor like a ton of bricks, and the room was spinning like crazy. I was seeing everything double, and I knew something was off. My fiance at the time, she's now my wife, was pretty concerned. I started throwing up. She was trying to help me and was telling me, you need to go to the ER. And I said, nah, this is probably just an inner ear thing. I don't.
Stop right there. Stop right there. So I'm not sure what your medical background is or your doctor background is, but you fell. Everything's dizzy inside of your head, and automatically you are not assuming that it is a stroke. So, I haven't heard anybody actually that I have interviewed that said that they knew they was having a stroke at that particular moment. I thought I was having a heart attack. So you thought you were just having an inner ear infection. That's amazing.
Yeah, so, I mean, something like denials, it's a really powerful thing. And, my background is in urology. So I deal with like a lot of, kidney and prostate cancer and things like that. But, at least I thought I knew enough that, a 35-year-old at the time, wouldn't be having a stroke, right? And so I was thinking, no, this has to be like an inner ear thing, maybe one of the little crystals is dislodged, or maybe I had an infection, who knows? But that wasn't my first thought.
So, okay, what convinced you to go to the hospital then?
My wife. So she kind of let me have the benefit of the doubt for a little while, and she said, okay, you can take a little bit of meclizine, take a nap, and see if you feel any different. And I didn't take a nap. I just started throwing up a lot more.
Wow.
And so she finally convinced me it was time to go to the ER.
Dr. Choate, I'm very curious, and please pardon me if I'm being too personal here, but I know that there is a large percentage of people that have head trauma. It really strains on their relationship. So you were saying that she was your fiance then, and she actually decided to marry you after you had your stroke. Just for people out there, I want them to understand it, because I know for me, in my relationship with my ex-wife, it was strained before I had my stroke. How was your relationship with your fiance? Obviously, it was good and it was close. So what kind of words do you have for people that, they are on the fence with their loved one and a tragic thing happened? What would you say to them so they won't get into that perils that I had?
Oh man, you're already asking me for love advice. No, my wife is fantastic. In the book that I wrote about the stroke that I'll talk about later, I kind of joke with her that the book's about her. I mean, she's just one of those people that gets it, and just we had a, a strong relationship going into it. um, and just I think, seeing me that way, the way that I was, it scared the hell out of her, to be honest. And I think she, she's in the medical field, so she kind of knows like the ins and outs. And I think just seeing me that way, it just really, hurt her. And she just wanted to do what was good and what was right for me. So, I think if anything, this whole ordeal kind of strengthened our relationship, because we kind of had to reflect on everything. I told her like while I was in the hospital, I go, hey, I'm kind of useless at this. I was kind of joking, but I was like, I'm pretty much useless at this point. Why don't you, you can go find someone else. We're not married yet. And she was like, oh my God, give me a break. And, so yeah, I'd say, if anything, the experience has just made everything stronger. And I'm just like, fortunate as hell to have a partner in crime like that.
No, I get it, Dr. Cho. I was the same way. I told my ex-wife, I said, "Hey, go live your life. This is not, it's going to work." And she wanted to stick it through, but it just got really bad after a while. So I get what you're saying with that. But what I'm hearing you saying is that before this happened, I guess you guys had a great bond, great communication, and also that she had some type of medical background. I guess that helps in her understanding what's actually going on with you, because you could have, and I can
Yeah.
imagine that, trust me, I already know you probably was the biggest pain in the butt, because you probably going through delusional thoughts and things like that. So you had a lot of things going on, and she had to
Yeah.
deal with that, and she had to take the brunt of that. So she
Yeah.
understand what was going on. That is my major concern. Like nowadays, when we deal with stroke survivors, that nobody's really stepping in those gaps to inform the caregiver that this is what your husband, your wife, your father, your son, daughter, mother is going to be from now on. You need to prepare yourself. They just send them back home. Is there any validity to that, or am I just making that up?
No, I think that's spot on. I mean, there are some, yeah, a stroke is not like a broken arm. You can't just kind of assume that, yeah, this will be a little bit better down the road, and this will be a little bit better. It's a totally different ball game. And there's definitely gaps in the process of getting you quote unquote better. And then what happens after that, I think, is like, that was definitely the huge gap for me, was like, how do I move on from this?
Dr. Choke, man, you leading this interview more than I am. That's something really interesting, because when I was in my hospital stay, I was in my hospital for about 6 weeks, and my ex-wife and the doctors was talking about, okay, we're going to have to transport Gregory home, and once we transport him home, he's going to be having a house nurse. He's going to be on disability. I'm like, I'm going to work tomorrow. What are you talking
Right.
about?
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, that's what was actually happening. So I
Right.
guess you had that same type of thought process. Now, how did
Yeah.
you get past that and understand that, okay, I need to slow down. My body's not completely healed yet. What was going through your mind? Because I know I was very upset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I kind of went through that same thing too, where I was calling like colleagues and stuff and telling them, yeah, just give me a couple weeks, I'll be out of here soon. And books. I mean, I was probably on a little bit of medication and stuff like that, but I
No, a
was,
lot of medication.
yeah, I was kind of talking some nonsense. But you know, it was it was not until like I kind of, so I wrote a book about all this stuff. And and initially one of my colleagues just said, hey, you should really. I was telling him all these funny stories. I got catheterized. I was telling him about all the crazy sedation dreams and stuff that I was having, and he said, you should really write some of these things down. They're pretty funny. And I said, hell no, I'm not doing that. Like I don't really want to remember all this stuff, and I hope I just go back to normal and that's it. But um, so I started writing stuff down, and I agreed initially, because I said, it'll be good practice for my left hand. My left hand, I saw the videos of you doing taking the M&Ms out of the trail mix. You know, I
Oh,
think
you went that far back. Wow. Okay.
well, I mean, maybe I just got lucky, but no, you know, my hand's the same way. You know, it's still more or less is, and so I said, yeah, I'll write a book because, or I mean, I didn't say I'll write a book, but I said I'll write this stuff down, you know, um, because if anything, it'll help my, you know, it'll help my hand, you know, because I do a lot of typing in my job, and so I said, I'll do it. And then like once things started moving, I had a few paragraphs on the page, you know, like the whole writing thing kind of just took on a life of its own. And I was like, maybe I can help some other people just kind of know what it's like to go through this and like what, you know, what I was thinking, you know, what they may be thinking. And especially like having a, you know, a medical background, I can kind of, you know, suss out like what the doctors were thinking, what the surgeons were thinking, the nurses and everything else. And like maybe this will just be like kind of a valuable insight for people.
Dr. Cho, you're saying a lot of things to me right now. You're blowing my mind. One of the things that you're blowing my mind with is that I'm hearing what you're saying to me. And one thing I'm thinking of that, okay, now you're like a superhero slash super villain. You've been on both sides. Like you
Yeah.
understand exactly what the medical field is thinking about with this
Yeah.
information. And you also understand what the stroke survivor is actually thinking about. Now you have both of that information that none of these two sides can actually have. Like you're a unicorn right now. And you're helping out both sides to get to a better playing field for people being treated by that had a stroke. So am I right with that? Is that the type of mindset you have now?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I guess so. I don't think I realized this when I was writing the book or anything. But you know, afterwards, like I just realized that okay, so maybe like for the listeners or something, this could be like an exercise or something. But imagine like what, you know, what defines you. Are you like you know, are you a doctor? Are you a fireman? Are you, you know, like what's kind of your thing, right? Are you an awesome woodworker? Are you really good at frisbee golf or whatever? You know, like are you like what kind of defines you? And then kind of think, well, what would happen if that was just totally stripped away? You know,
Yeah.
what would I be after that? And when that happened to me, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm nothing, you know, like I'm nothing all that special, you know. I was like spiritually disconnected. Um, you know, I was more and more disconnected from my friends and my family. And I think it was because I was, you know, I was just kind of living a life of like simulation, you know. It was like I was seeing 30, maybe 40 people a day in clinics, and I was thinking, yeah, I'm getting all kinds of social interaction, you know. This is my community. And it really wasn't, you know. It was like my job. And I was kind of like I was kind of thinking to myself, you know, so when I, you know, I'd get home from work or something, my wife would want to talk, my family would want to talk, and I would just say, nah, I don't want to, I'm too tired, you know. I've been talking to people all day. And but was you know, was I doing any meaningful talking? Was I really making these like strong bonds? You know, did I really have a tight community? Was I connected to, you know, spiritually and stuff like that? And the answer was no. And so I've just kind of, seems like after writing the book, I kind of thought, you know, I talked a lot about me and the situation and everything else, but I think there's something, you know, better in life. And you know, there's a better life for me, you know, period. And so that kind of like drove me to sort of connect with more people, you know, have a community, you know, go to a stroke support group, you know, meet people, you know.
What's the name of your book?
It's called The Stroke Artist.
Okay, everybody, if you want to check out The Stroke Artist, you can find it where we can find it at.
Well, you can find it on Amazon, and also I have a little website called the Stroke Artist .myshopify.com.
Everybody, I have this information in the comments below, so please like and subscribe. And also, if you have any comments for Dr. Cho, please put it in the comments below. Dr. Cho, you're saying a lot of things to me, and I hear this a lot, that, you know, a lot of people didn't feel like their life was they thought it was fulfilling. Then after everything actually happened with them, then they realized, oh, they find their new purpose. And I think you found that pretty early within your stroke recovery, because I'm very impressed by what you have done so far. And it's only what, not even 2 years, about a year and a half that you had your stroke. You wrote a book and you're giving back. But some way or another, you figured out that in order for you to get better, you had to be a viable source in our society and
Yeah.
give back. And that's the only way that you was going to be healed. And I guess that's how you got back your spirituality, that got back your sense of purpose within life. You got married, you know, all these other things. And a lot of people don't realize that's what they have to do. Like for me, I do these shows. This is what I know I can do well. I know I have a great voice. I have a good presence in front of the camera, so I can do these things. You are a doctor, so you brought back, you know, that medical sense of understanding what is actually going on for a stroke survivor to the medical community and also to our community. So I really understand it. I really appreciate you for doing that. Kudos to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
But let's talk about something else. Let's go a little bit deeper. And you're touching on it a little bit, but you're not really diving into it. That mental aspect. You know, you were saying that, you know, you didn't feel like your life was having purpose, but after your stroke, and you said it a couple of times, you didn't feel like you was worthy or worth being around. No, you felt inadequate, I guess, the proper phrase I could use, the proper word I could use. You know, how did
Yeah.
you come away from being inadequate to adequate?
Oh man. Yeah. So yeah, it was you know, it was weird. Like I mean, it was a long journey, or it felt like it was. I guess it's not, but you know, I just, like I was saying, I think you know, my life was like one big simulation, you know, and then like I kind of got disconnected from the matrix, you know, and and so
Whoa,
it was
whoa,
like
slow down, slow down, slow down. Are you saying that your stroke disconnected you from the matrix? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I'm
maybe
with you with that concept. I understand it. Like,
maybe so.
yeah, I really see it like, yo, before my life, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was great. I thought I had a great career. I had 3 or 4 houses. And I lost all of that. But I am more satisfied with the life that I have now than I had before.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's like it's just it's just weird to think, like, you know, I spent all this time, you know, trying to help others, and it was like, maybe if I help enough people, that I'll be like a whole complete person, you know, and that's just that was just kind of a lie I was telling myself, you know, and I think I think recognizing that now, and you know, seeking support and help and other things like that, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I'm trying to work on myself now, you know, and because if you're not really, you know, if you don't really love yourself, and you don't really, you know, how are you gonna love other people, you know? And it's like, so I'm trying to do that now, and sort of take it to that next level, you know?
And Dr. Cho, you're really blowing my mind. I just want to let you know that you're blowing my mind, because a lot of things that you're saying, I also thought that as well. But I'm just so impressed that you transformed so quickly, because it took me a long time to get where you are right now. There's a lot more that you have to go through, but you know,
Oh yeah.
you're making leaps and bounds that I can't believe it. But there's something that you're saying to me that I don't think people really understand. You know, you saying you have a stroke, you have invisible disabilities. People can't tell that some parts of your body is not working properly unless you actually show it or actually pay attention to you. They don't know
Yeah.
that you have, you know, sometimes your balance is off, because you didn't say this in this interview, but you told me before that your stroke was in your cerebellum. That's the part that your brain that controls your balance. So your balance will be off
Yeah.
sometimes too.
Oh yeah. All the time.
All the time, the same place in mind.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you say you found that particular thing and say, okay, my life wasn't nothing before, but my life is something now. And you still didn't tell me, because I'm going to go back to you on this. What was that aha moment? What was that pivotal moment that says, boom, I understand now. I understand. I'm unplugged and I'm ready to go. What was that?
Well, I mean, I've always kind of been interested. Like, it's weird. You know, I sort of devoted my life to my career, I guess you could say, and I didn't make time for a lot of other things. And yeah, like in the back of my mind, I was just always, sort of interested in, um, religion, spirituality, other things like that, sort of different ways of thinking. I would read all these different books and everything. And it's like, you ever heard that there's that phrase like faith without works is dead?
I
Or,
know that scripture very well.
yeah, yeah. Like, so it's kind of like, you can think about something all you want, but until you start doing it and start living it, then it's kind of just pointless. And so, I was just, down on myself, frustrated, um, just, I was like trying to put on the brave face and everything. Like, look, I'm trying to make lemonade out of these lemons. I'm trying to write a book and all this stuff. And I think, um, after going through that, after going through lots of intensive stroke rehab, I kind of said, you're like the best bullshitter out there. You're bullshitting yourself, and you're not really doing what you're saying you want to do in the back of your mind. And so I kind of said, well, all right, I guess I'll do something about it. And so I started, support groups and other things like that, therapy, and just kind of found a totally different way to live.
Dr. Cho, you're saying something very interesting to me that I want people to understand that. You said it like 2 or 3 times. You said, I said to myself, I said to myself. So these are conversations that you're basically having with yourself. And like, one is your conscious and others your subconscious, and you're having arguments back and forth, and then your subconscious is not going to win anymore. Your conscious is winning, and you say, this is what we're going to be doing. So it's
Yeah.
mind over matter got you out of that funk. Okay, I could go with that. And what happened to you once that happened? Like, did everything started easily happening to you, or it was a gradual thing, man? You appreciate the process. What happened?
I mean, I think initially it just felt like a huge weight was lifted. I started, I started getting right with, with my higher power. I started
Mhm.
getting right with family, wife, friends, and things like that. And just, gradually over, I mean, a pretty short time, like I felt like it was a long time, but over a pretty short time, I just started thinking differently. Like I actually started smiling and stuff like that. And I'm not a smiler. Yeah.
Neither am I.
Only when I'm doing Zoom interviews.
I get it. I completely get it. And that
Yeah.
makes a logical sense now. So now this is transforming your life. So I've been asked this question on other interviews before. I'm gonna ask you the same question. Your stroke, was it a blessing or a curse?
It was a blessing. I think I mean it's really easy to, hate it, resent it and stuff like that. But it's crazy how, like, resenting things and resentments, how heavy they are. They just feel like a backpack or something on you, like full of bricks. I mean, they just feel heavy. And once I kind of started deciding, I don't want to live my life that way. It's too much of a burden. Like, let's try something else. And so, I kind of went from there.
Dr. Cho, I had that same thought process actually when I was having my stroke. And then after I came out of it, I was like, whoa. During the time that I thought I was going to die, I didn't have jealousy. I didn't have malice. I didn't have any anger with me whatsoever. So why should I live that way? So it
Yeah.
sounds like you said the same thing and you figure that out and you move forward. It's like, I'm dumping that load. You guys can deal with that if you want to. But for me, in order for me to do what I need to do in this life, I'm going to do this. So that's what I heard you say. Am I right? What you say? By
Yeah,
saying that?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I
Cool.
mean, it's like I feel like, I mean, we've all lived with, like, resentments and things much longer than a year and a half. And sometimes we still hang on to those, and it's like, well, I mean, how long are you gonna keep carrying that weight, Like,
Does
just
nothing for you
right.
except bring you down.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
Dr.
what
Choate, we're at the end of our show. So at this time, I put my guests on the hot seat. I asked them 6 questions. Each question, I want you to give me a 30-second answer, but I will not disturb you. But when you're ready for your next question, say, Greg, next question, please. At the end of that, I want you to give us anything that you want to leave us, impart us with to close out our show. Anything whatsoever, any books, any sites, any quotes, whatever.
Okay.
That'll be your time to close the show. So are you ready for your hot seat questions?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Dr. Choate, okay, here we go. Question number 1. Did your perception of life change?
Absolutely. 100%. And I mean, you know, it's I never thought of myself as like a grandiose person or something like that. That was like, or a narcissist or anything like that. But when you look at it, you know, even though I was helping a lot of other people in the process, I was kind of living for myself, you know. And now I want to be a part of something, you know, bigger. I want to help other people. I want to be in a community, you know. So yeah, absolutely. Uh, Next question, Greg.
Question number 2. What is important about life?
So you know, that concept's changed a lot, you know, for me. It was kind of, initially I thought it was about, you know, career and like kind of quote unquote what you could do for others. Maybe there's a career where you can do both of those. Now I would just kind of simplify that answer to you know, community, fellowship, family, friends, you know, all of those things. Those things, they might change over time, but they're, you can't replace them, you know. And so those are the important things.
I'll assume that's next question time.
Yeah.
Question
Sorry.
number 3. What are you trying to accomplish with this new life of yours?
So I'm just trying to be a part of something, you know, bigger than myself. Try to help you know, people that need help, and that would benefit from kind of a, you know, a unique perspective, you know. And and I think that beyond that, you know, um, just trying to, you know, listen, you know, like, you know, I hate the term, but people call it being present. You know, I call it conscious awareness. You know, just be aware of, you know, everything going on around you. Just listen to it. You know, don't dwell too much in the past. Don't dwell too much in the future, and just continue to love other people and love what you do. You know, or try to the best you can.
Okay. Question number 4. I'm really interested in this because this is probably fresh in your mind. What advice would you give someone within their first year of rehab from brain trauma?
So I would say be patient. Um, you know, you hear a lot of I guess what they call like dime store advice and stuff from your therapist. And by the way, listen to your therapist too, because they're fantastic people, and they do God's work. They really do. They from a doctor, let me just say that they know more about stroke recovery than doctors do when it comes down to the nuts and bolts. So listen to them. Um, you know, be patient with yourself. They always say it's kind of like you know, they'll say, you know, stroke recovery is not linear. That's totally true. I've heard a lot of people describe it as a staircase where you might make one big giant gain, and then you may be standing on the flat part for a pretty long time. Um, and then, you know, if you stay patient and persistent, you'll get up to that next level. And that's pretty much, you know, how it goes. And then I would say early on, be thinking about community. You know, like who can I share this with? Who can I rely on? Who, you know, is there a group of people that would accept me as I am, not judge me? Of course there is. There's tons of them. You just gotta seek them out. And so yeah, I would say keep your eyes open for sure.
Cool. All right, this next question. Now, I only need one person. A lot of people like to give me multiple people. I want one person. It's a 2-part question. If you had died, who would have been most affected, and how is your relationship with that person now?
It would. I'd like to think it would be my wife. She'd have a lot of trouble getting glasses down from off those high counters and stuff. No, no, I think no, I think she would. We have a very close relationship, and I think she would be maybe the most affected. And then what was the second part? I forget.
How's your relationship now with her?
It's stronger than ever. I think I realized that it's not about me. It doesn't matter how hard I've worked that day. I still got to make time for the people I love, because that's what really matters, in life.
Last question. What has the threat of death taught you?
Well, on the note that it's like a blessing. The threat of death just it taught me how to live.
Great segue.
Ding. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so yeah, I love it when it no, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, it just kind of told me there's a better way to live. There's a better life. The thing that I think about with with just being pissed off, sullen. I had a stroke, and woe is me, and this and that, and my life will never be the same. Instead of focusing on that, I mean, it's kind of infinite. The possibilities you can achieve and attain, and you're gonna surprise yourself, all the time. So um, just say, keep an open mind about that.
Dr. Bevan Choate, I have no further questions. You are off the hot seat. It's now time for you to close out the show. So anything that you want to say to the audience, please feel free to do it. And
Yeah,
close us out.
again, Greg, thank you for having me on. You really do important work, and that's special. You just can't say enough about that. Yeah, if you want to look at the book, or my website, it's my website right now is thestrokeartist.myshopify.com, or my book is also on Amazon in paperback or ebook. So
Do you talk to anybody on Instagram or anything like that? Can they contact you there?
I do, yeah. So my Instagram handle is at Bevan Choate, all one word, and yeah. So look me up if you want to.
Dr. Choate, thank you so much for being on the show. And guys, all the information about Dr. Choate, his books, his website, his IG handles, all in the comments below. So feel free to click on it and go to his site. But make sure you like and subscribe to this show. And also, leave any comments for him. I will give them right to him, and he will answer them for you guys. Thank you so much, Dr. Choate, for coming on the show today. And thank you for teaching us how death taught you how to live.
Greg, thank you so much. Take care. Time is such a gift, try and control your destiny. We don't know the hour of the day. Unity is strength, they stand as one without delay. Cause no bad vibe me a jam. Me no wanna bad vibe me a jam. I just peace of times all around, yeah. No bad vibe me a jam. No bad vibe me a jam.